I think this is a manifestation of what is referred to as repressive tolerance, where in the name of tolerance, they actually use it to assert authority and control over people. They monitor your language. They get you to use language that only they approve. And once you've done that with somebody, once you've done that with a campus, that's enormous control. Who gets to decide what words are offensive? Who gets to decide what is hate speech? And in each of these cases that have been covered in the news in the last multiple years, you see that there is a particular political viewpoint attached to them. Once they get you to change your language, you have now bought into, you have now complied with their ideology. You never know what word that's commonly used, completely uncontroversial, is all of a sudden going to get you in trouble, is all of a sudden going to get you called a bigot or a racist, even though 3 days ago that word was perfectly normal. This is not the Soviet Union where you rat out your neighbor because they committed some offense. If administrators were to send that message, I think a lot of that would stop. Unfortunately, administrators tend to send the opposite message, which is that monitoring your classmates' speech is an appropriate thing. I think that the argument that just because you're not going to jail or you're not being fired or you're not being kicked out of school because you said a word that 6 months ago was considered completely normal and now is not, I think that's a dodge. I think that's evading the issue. We're talking about a campus culture here, and we're talking about a culture which only tolerates, for the most part, left-wing political viewpoints. And the policing of words is part of that repressive culture. So it feeds off each other. There are instances where people are brought up, complaints are made to bias response teams. So uttering these words can have very serious consequences, particularly for students, but also for faculty. There are many examples in the past few years, made even worse after the death of George Floyd, where faculty have been attacked, where faculty have been threatened with termination, or where faculty have been terminated. And it only takes one professor being disciplined or fired, or one student being brought up on charges to scare thousands of students or hundreds of faculty. I don't think that any of these instances reflect a true concern about the origin of a word or a true concern that the word itself is racist in some way. It is simply a power play.